brakes here as they go. A deep dive on the brakes. Here comes the 680 to the inside.
It's like 7 of a second. I can't believe what we just saw.
Racing takes drivers and teams on a journey across the country. We've been all across the United States, from coast to coast, north to south, east to west. It seems like every week is a new place, new faces, wherever the wind will take us. This week, the wind has taken us to the Windy City. Well, almost. We're in Joliet, Illinois at Chicagoland Speedway for round 15 of the Outsider Racing League season. This track is one of the newest on the schedule, opening in 2001, but it's aged like a fine wine. The surface has worn and gone slick, leaving us with a spectacle like no other on the NASCAR schedule. Tonight, Outsider Racing League races in the Midwest before the wind picks us up and leaves us 1,000 miles away with the warm summer breeze of Daytona Beach next week. Welcome to SimTV. My name's Kyle Higher, joined by Finney and DeCuna for our 15th race of the season. Finney and Chicagoland Speedway, a track we haven't been to in some time. Very unique, 1.5 miler, and the back straightaway is very much curved. The closest we get to Circle in Circle Track NASCAR racing here as we tackle our 15th round of the season.
It's very unique and just kind of having the track set up into the point where we're almost pretty much continuously turning with no real true straightaway. And you can see there the track constructed in 2001, relatively new circuit, but definitely going to be interesting for the drivers tonight, especially. Guys, we're going to see them eventually go 3 wide in their opening laps. It's going to be absolute chaos.
So, Chicagoland Speedway, see right there, 4 turns, 1.5 miles. That describes a whole lot of courses on the NASCAR circuit, but this one, again, with that curved back straightaway, fairly unique. Also is home to the closest finish in IndyCar history, right here at Chicagoland in 2002, a margin of victory, 24 100,000ths of a second. So again, very, very close there. Again, welcome to SimTV. My name's Kyle Higher, joined by Finney and DeCuna as we embark on our 15th race of the season. Qualifying underway right now. And again, we're on our high downforce package this week, Finney. So that's going to mean that track position is very important. Qualifying important as well.
Yeah, considering these guys, especially in the timesheets, are going to be very close in general, because you're pretty much going to be full throttle the entire time. This is going to be a matter of how you take these corners and if you take them fast enough. And by fast enough, if you're thousandths of a second faster than the next guy ahead of you. So the timesheet's going to be really close. You make just one little slip, it's going to drop you way down in the order, pretty much to the back of the field. You look at Yusuf Ghali, one of the Dash for Cash drivers tonight. Obviously, you can see with some of the numbers in the field, some of the drivers with the green numbers, meaning if they win under green flag conditions, they get cash at the end of the race. And some pretty heavy hitters with Stravato, the likes of Stravato, Butler, Ghali, and Cabot already there in the ticker. I don't know who's our 5th driver.
Connor Horn is your 5th driver, and that's one that we're going to have to pay attention to. So it's going to be a really interesting night. Again, going for that little extra cash prize as Ghali comes on through. Recent drivers I also have an eye on. AJ Stravato, he's won a handful of races this season, and again, I think he's my pick tonight, Finney. He's just been on a roll lately, and that number 33 Venom Energy Drink Chevrolet Camaro is going to be at the top of the order come the end of this race this evening. So, other topics of discussion this evening. Let's have a look here. Things to watch. Pit road entry, Finney, and fuel window of about 45 to 50 laps, but getting onto pit road here is very, very difficult. It's very far away from the racing surface. We're going to see a lot of drivers struggle to get down there. Remember Dover a couple weeks ago? Some drivers struggled to make pit road there, so going faster here, it's going to be even more difficult.
Yeah, and it definitely isn't as hard as Dover. I would say Dover is probably one of the hardest pit road entries on the NASCAR calendar. But definitely this is one of those more challenging ones. Getting off the banking, slowing down, making sure you don't get reared end from behind, especially when we might see a mix in tire strategy with some guys pitting in earlier. You're going to have a completely different guys going at completely different speed. You could see some incidents occur there. So it's going to be a lot of different factors to, take care of. And then also you see another thing to watch out for is going to be the restarts. These guys are going to be 3, might even be 4 wide into some of these corners, with everyone trying to make up as many spots as possible when the tires are still fresh.
Absolutely. Well, with qualifying almost complete, make sure to head over to simtvbroadcasting.com/timing. You're going to get a full timing and scoring live leaderboard to follow along while this race embarks on its journey this evening. So Stravato comes across the line, second lap out of 29.785. That will not be an improvement. He will stay 4th quick, but still a pretty solid effort by Stravato inside the top 5. Another one of our Dash for Cash drivers with a little bit of extra importance on this race this evening. A lot of drivers have not yet qualified. Bowers, Wagner, Chambliss, Banks, Jenkins, a lot of drivers did not make the qualifying effort. I'm a little bit surprised to see that.
Yeah, again, we kind of seeing that, it's typically what you would see at, a play track with a lot of guys, a few guys qualifying, a few guys not qualifying, a decent mix, because, typically guys feel that they can move their way up. I don't really think you can have the same mindset here, because these tires are going to wear out over time, and you're only going to have the good in them for so long, so it's going to be a lot tougher to move yourself up from the back, but we'll see how it plays up for some of the drivers electing not to qualify.
Stravato's going to call it quits there and roll to a slow roll on the back straightaway. Qualifying is complete. Jeff Wright, the pole sitter. That's a really good effort for him. Yusuf Ghali on the outside of the front row in the number 54 car. He's got a handful of victories this season. Adam Cabot, Stravato, and Alex Bell rounding out your top 5. So qualifying is complete. We'll head down to the racetrack here tonight. 135 laps. That's sort of a short race in comparison to the ones that we've run recently in ORL Finian. So this should be a pretty quick one. 1 hour and 6 minutes from start to finish if we go green. The chance of us going green from start to finish, though, I wouldn't put extraordinarily high. I think restarts are going to be a trouble spot tonight. And the slick racing surface, have a look at the weather. 114 track temp, it's only going to climb and make this track slicker and rougher to run on.
Yeah, again, once tires start to wear out, that's going to be a much bigger factor because, the downforce can only help you so much. You really need the tires, and especially to have them in decent condition. So that's going to be another thing these guys have got to be careful with as this run goes on. So
some different liveries in the field this week. I know for a fact that Bailey Turner's got a new paint scheme on board. MF Racing Designs, great looking race car. If we can get a better look at it from the other side of the fence, there we go. As he sits on the grid, we'll check out some of the other schemes here this week. We see Alex Bell's running another scheme on this week, of course, very relevant to what's going on in the world right now, so that's good to see. Same thing with Caleb Weekly. He's got, we saw this paint scheme earlier on this week on Twitter, and everyone was oogling over how beautiful it is. It honestly looks better than the normal Ally scheme, so that's a good looking race car he's got tonight.
They're very big consensus from majority of the community, and I definitely agree with that. The car, honestly, is I feel like almost the paint scheme, the regular one was pretty much made to have this alteration to it. It looks fantastic.
It really does look good, and there see in front Bryce Calusa, another new paint scheme on this car this week for him in the number 20, red and green. Looks like Christmas in the middle of June right now as we get ready to roll here in just a moment. So let's go through our starting lineup here. Finian on the front row tonight. It's going to be Jeff Wright in the 48 and his Chevrolet, and Yusuf Ghali in the 54.
Moving on back to row number 2 in the second, in the second row, we got Adam Cabot in 3rd in the 77 next to AJ Stravato 33rd in 4th. The 33 and 4th. In
row number 3, it'll be Alex Bell's number 15 Chevrolet Polar Pure sponsored car. And 6th place, didn't catch that name. I was reading too much stuff, but row 4 will be Martin Sproul and Jeremy Miller.
Yeah, it was Elliot Butler starting in 6th place. Moving on back to 9th, we got Bryce Calusa in the 20. Next to him is going to be Bailey Turner in 10th in the 24.
In 11th, Robert Gaba's number 75, alongside Tim Downey Jr., reigning champion in the 25 car. He rolls off 12th.
Back in 13 is going to be Caleb Weekly lining up on in the 10 on the inside lane. Next to him on the outside lane in 14th, Reggie Ortega in the 2.
In row number 8, Steve Turner makes his return to ORL action, rolls off 15th, and Brandon Gagnon starts 16th.
Looking back here, Connor Horn started back in 17th, did not put a qualifying time down. Next to him in 18th, Casey Lakatis in the 50.
In 19th, Michael Sturgill starts in the 90 car. Brendan Bowers rolls off 20th in the 31.
Back in 21st is going to be Brian Chambliss in the 9 on the inside, next to Matt Wagner in the 22nd in the 18 car.
In row number 12, it'll be Joshua Banks in the 23rd place, number 36. Clifton Cockrell rolls off 24th in his number 16.
Rounding out your final row is going to be Joshua Jenkins in 25th. Next to him in 26th, David Martin Jr. That's going to round out our field of 26 cars for tonight.
The field rolls through turns 3 and 4 up at the front of the field. It's the 48 car that sat on pole tonight. It has not been the best of seasons, looking to turn some things around, and a great way to do that is to start right up front and have a shot to win 135 laps, round number 15 of the Outsider Racing League season in June of 2020. Green flag flies, and we're racing in the Windy City at Chicagoland. lap complete. Jeff Wright leads the way. Adam Cabot slots himself into second place. Alex Bell third. Elliot Butler fourth. And Yusuf Gottlieb drops from second to fifth on the opening lap. On the outside looking in. Again, you want to get yourself to the bottom of the racetrack here, Finney, and this high downforce package necessitates the short way around.
Yeah, absolutely, and we're seeing everyone, for the most part, starting to get single file up at the top. Already, you can see the wear kind of playing out, and these guys starting to take it easy. Kalusa in behind, fighting with Jeremy Miller. Miller's still trying to work that outside lane, going to slot in behind the 20th, and Bailey Turner now. You see everyone nearly drop down below the white line on the front straightaway.
Yeah, in Chicago, that white line is going to get a lot of abuse. You're going to find drivers on the apron every single lap of this race, start to finish. I don't care who you are. It's a good place to be, a good place to pick up speed. Look at the 24 right in front of the 30 on corner exit. Slots the nose in. Here comes the 75 of Gaba on the bottom of the racetrack, going to fill in the hole. Below the 30 car, drives in deep into 3, and Miller's way out of the groove.
Yeah, you can see that. You can see the rubber lane really only from the middle groove to the bottom went out of that groove, and you saw how tight that car was. He was struggling to get it turned into the corner, and Tim Downey Jr. was able to get the spot as well.
Yeah, so Robert Gaba is going to grab a few spots in there. See Reggie Ortega making another start this season in his number 2 car up at the front of the field. A 10.5 between Wright, Cabot, Bell, and Butler. Wright a little bit defensive on the back straightaway here, feeling the pressure from the 77.
They're trying to put on some pressure. He's got a couple of fast guys in behind him trying to see what they can do, but this is so far a great turnaround for Jeff Wright. We were talking about him not really performing his best this season so far. Starting first, still in first, obviously really early, but still doing a solid job.
See the green banner and the green number on the Dash for Cash cars, at least the green numbers on the ones you see. There's 3 of them inside the top 6. I make that 4 of the top 6, 3 in the top 5. We're only missing one of those drivers, and that is Connor Horn, the number 3 car. He started all the way back in 17th. He's only gained 3 spots. Look at the paint scheme on this car this week, Finney. That's a great looking race car.
Yeah, absolutely. And we didn't really get a chance to see it because, again, did not come out for a qualifying lap, but here he is. After starting back in 17th, already up quite a few spots into 13th and still moving forward in a fantastic paint scheme.
Great look over the right shoulder of the Connor Horn machine as we head down into turn number 3 up at the front. You see Wright holding off Cabot well. But again, I think it's a matter of time right now as before Wright will be able to extend this lead again. As the tires burn off, you're going to lose the ability to follow so closely in the draft. You see Martin Sproul leading a 2-car fight with Turner and Kalusa, and Turner will grab that spot away. He started in 10th. He's moved his way up 2 spots, and the 20 being the second one of the night for him.
Yeah, for Kalusa, he's been, actually, he's also moved up as well. I thought he dropped back, but he's pretty much maintained his spot in 9th place, starting there and still running.
Nose to tail now and we get into the long haul here. Long green flag runs probably expected tonight due to the packages that we're running. You mentioned earlier 45 laps on a tank of fuel, Finney, and so green flag pit stops a consideration. That's going to make pit road a consideration, getting on and off. Very important. Stravato and Elliot Butler battling for 4th place, and Alex Bell hunting the 2 leaders right now as they head into turn 3.
You see him trying to arc the corner a little bit. You can see he's about a lane and a half up from the rest of these guys, again, trying to get out of that dirty air. It's going to save him some tire, I think, by, not forcing the car to turn as hard as the guys up ahead. So as they're starting to battle out, you see Cabot have a look down the inside. They're side by side now for the lead. Cabot on the inside, and you see right out of the groove is going to drift up the track and have to get out of the throttle. Cabot is going to be able to get a nice run on the back straightaway.
Side by side for the race lead off into turn number 3. Here comes Bell to fill the hole underneath the 48, but Jeff Wright gets out of the rubber now, and that's going to let Cabot go on through and take the lead away. So Adam Cabot, after 8 laps of racing, will rocket to the top spot, and Bell will follow him through on the bottom of the racetrack. So right now, you mentioned the top side, definitely better for tires, but the bottom is where it's faster right now, and that's where Bell is gone.
Yeah, absolutely. Just trying to wait around, and again, it's going to be hard to really see an argument for that outside lane. Maybe you might have to see that groove get rubbered in more. But actually, right as I say that, Wright's actually starting to build a run back up on Bell, who's not been able to come fast yet.
So we're on the outside groove, and I do think we're going to see the outside come in a little bit later in the night as the rubber builds up slightly in the outside, but for now, the bottom is the place to be. Martin Sproul all by himself on the racing surface as everyone else dives for the apron towards turn 1.
Who gets way out of the groove on entry, though, is going to cost him a little bit. As Kalusa gets on by, he's going to be able to turn back down, maybe get a nice run on the back straightaway.
Second place, Bell has cleared Jeff Wright. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Cabot, Bell, Wright, Stravato, and Yusuf Ghali as they come through. And Ghali again started on the front row, drifted back to 6th, and he's gained 1 spot back, rides in 5th right now. Long run, I do expect this 54 to come back forward. Remember back to Texas, finishing one of our most recent 1.5 milers, and Ghali won that race.
Yeah, so we'll see if he can get back up to the front. Notably, too, speaking about Ghali, is the only non-Chevrolet car in the top 13. So it is a notable lack of manufacturer diversity. We were talking about it earlier, the fact that there's no Fords, as we see something happening to Brandon Bowers. Oh, on the front straightaway, through the grass.
A little kind of a weird spot to go off, but he went through the grass and got it back rolling, so he'll continue. But look at this train on the bottom of the racetrack, and Wright's going to fall to 5th here. So a bad run through 3 and 4. We'll have Bell, Stravato, and Ghali past the 48 car. And as good as he started, this is going backwards very quickly.
And I think he's just struggling in that dirty air. I think, might have not had enough practice in it, or just he ran a little bit too hard out front, and he's now starting to pay the price here. So it looks like he can't really build up a run.
Watching this 54 and the 33 right in front of him, 2 of the picks I thought would be at the front tonight. They've been pretty much the best drivers in this series the past 4 or 5 weeks, and I don't expect that to change. Next week, we had Daytona, and then after that, we had the Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, and that's a track where I think Ghali could win. Another road course where he's been so good, but look at him chasing the 33 right on the rear bumper through the center of the corner.
Decent run into turn 3, and a lot of different guys. You see right there with Bell apexing late and Stravato apexing early here. And that's actually the early apex is costing Stravato, as Ghali looking to pass through the grass on the front straight as he has a look up the inside here into turn 1.
Well, if you can get up underneath the driver in front of you, you're going to do it, and even if it requires a little bit of lawn mowing, you're going to make that work. And Ghali puts himself back on the podium for now, moves his way into 3rd. Alex Bell sits in 2nd place in the 15. Stravato has a look. Big block by the 54. Now the 33 dives to the inside in the 3 and can't quite get there. And Jeff Wright gets up on the wheel. He has a look at the 33 on corner exit now.
Yeah, he's trying to get a run of that outside groove. Not even really the outside groove, just a lane up, and couldn't really get it done. He's got a bit of a run here. Might have a chance to look down low and dive into turn 1. Is not going to act on it.
A little bit racy there, I'm sure. Stravato will remember that later in the night, but it becomes relevant. And here comes the 48 to the inside of Stravato into turn 3.
Here's the dive to the inside. Looks like Stravato is going to give it to him. Can't imagine he's going to fight too much with it. Going to let 48 on by.
Right behind Bailey Turner. We talked about him earlier tonight, but have a look at Martin Sproul in the number 19. Started 7th. He has gone basically nowhere. He's dropped 1 spot. I'm a little bit surprised that he hasn't found his way forward a bit more. He is closing on Bryce Clusen here, but he's on throttle a little bit early. He's going to carry some of that speed to the inside down the backstretch.
There he goes, and now Clusen kind of pinched in a little bit. Not quite. As he dives in a little bit harder, he's able to get clear of that 19 and take the corner normally.
Elliott Butler, another one of our Dash for Cash competitors, and Connor Horn from 17th up to 10th. Really impressive run so far. I mean, nothing out of the ordinary here, as we do have a battle for 2nd as Yusuf Ghali goes P2 and gets around Alex Bell. So this 54 Toyota coming to the front.
Yeah, I'm trying to look back and just see how you did it. You just got to... Oh, actually, it looks like Bell got loose on the straightaway and had to check up the track, and that pretty much allowed Ghali to get on by. This is the second time we've seen a driver get kind of loose.
Now, again, is the transition definitely to the apron that can sort of unsettle the car, so that's certainly not helping. See them all slam down, and these cars are low. They're going to hit the splitter on the pavement. It's very unsettling to the race car, so that could be an issue. Jeff Wright, where he dropped backwards, but now he's got pace going back the right direction. So if he could just get the track position back after making those early mistakes, I do think he's still got speed to be up near the front, if not leading this race.
This is a matter of getting clear of this traffic, or not really traffic, just more of the guys ahead of him. Looking back at Bailey Turner now, trying to hold off a charging Bryce Clusen, 20. And for Turner, started in 10th, currently up in a 6th, so a decent climb forward. As you see Clusen have a look to the outside, and they're going to try to tuck back low, but the door gets slammed on him.
Fight going on behind him. There's Steve Turner, Brandon Gagnon, and Robert Gaba that have all had a bit of a scuffle and a change in position. Moved the 83 to 14th, Turner to 15th, and Gaba to 16th. Behind Yusuf Ghali, there is a 3-horse race. Bell, Wright, Stravato. And a really, this is this top 5 right now is probably a very strong top 5, one that I would consider the best of the drivers this season.
Getting reports from the 19, he's starting to drop back due to internet connectivity issues, was flashing very violently over the last few turns, so he's slowly dipping on back. Looks like it's kind of stabilized for now, but is trying to just get out of the way of other competitors. These guys also up here scrapping for position as Bell's got a face full of, or mirror full of, I should say, of Jeff Wright and AJ Stravato.
Yeah, so Wright's gotten by Stravato, puts himself into 4th place, closing on halfway through this fuel run. So let's start thinking about strategy here, Finian. If we pit at our fuel window, does this become a 2 pit stop race? Are we doing a 3 stop race? Seems like a 2 stop race would be the best way to get the best life out of the tires and fuel.
Yeah, pretty much. So mathematically, it works out to exactly being 2 stops on the dot. So that means that you really can't afford, again, assuming this race goes green all the way, which since we're out of the restart stage, which is typically where we're more likely than not going to see caution come out with this package, I would say there's a really good chance we go green all the way to the end. It's not improbable. So if you pit on lap 45, you should be able to make it all the way in. And again, this is a matter of if you're going to save a little bit through the run, you might be able to stretch it a little bit further, but you definitely don't want to pit sooner than 45. Others are definitely going to have to do some saving.
Oh, you see Reggie Ortega just chucked the car to the inside of Martin Sproul and got there just in time. There's Elliott Butler and Casey Lacanis in the number 50. The other Sim Motorsports Toyota as he rockets down the back straight to the outside. Pretty good start for the 5th car. Started 18th. He's up 5 spots inside the top 15. And of course, Casey always streams live on his YouTube channel, so make sure you can go find him. Search ORL Race 15 at Chicago, and you'll find Casey streaming live. And get to watch from his perspective as he negotiates this traffic now for battling for a 10th place position on the racetrack.
This is where you can see a potential caution come out. We've seen a lot of single file for the most part. These guys getting double file up, trying to make moves on one another. Ortega's getting swamped. Sproul able to get on by him. Now here comes Elliott Butler working the outside as well. This could be where we're seeing that outside lane starting to maybe come in.
And we're going to be watching the rubber all night long, I think, and see if it's widened out the groove at all. But again, I just don't think that's the fast place to be. It's definitely a defensive place. I don't think it's an offensive place. I say that a lot about the rubber strategy in different lines around here, but Lacanis moves up into 12th. Meanwhile, at the front of the field, Cabot continues to lead this race. So far today, he has led 16 of our 25 laps. The other ones belong to Jeff Wright, who has led 8 laps today. Sits back in 4th after slipping back on an early run.
Behind Calusa, getting really close to the bumper of the 24 machine. They almost touched coming out of turn 4. And Calusa now trying to build up a run, maybe on the outside lane to get a run into turn 1. Maybe we'll look back down the inside. He does not turn her, though, goes defensive.
Oh, they're touched. The 24 gets a bit of a push from the 20 car. Oh. Slides up the racetrack. Elbows out contact here as Calusa goes all the way to the outside wall.
Yeah, and I would say out of all the drivers in the racetrack, I think the 24 is probably the worst driver to mess with because he will absolutely take you to school if you mess with him. So you definitely don't want to get him too upset.
Oh, look at what just happened there. That was really close to the disaster for the 20 car of Calusa, but back rolling now and going to chase him back down as we have Yusuf Ghali, who has officially hunted down Adam Cabot for the race lead.
The corner, not quite there exactly yet, but that 54 looking a little bit faster than the 77 at the moment. Again, catching is one thing, passing is another, and we said it 100 times, and it's still going to be true here.
Lap number 28 of 135, still a very long way to go in this one, but now Ghali's going to utilize this draft here and try to swing to the outside and arcing hard into turn number 1. See him lift off the throttle, then to get right back on. Cabot didn't get the car down to the center of the corner, and here comes Ghali with a big run at the exit of turn 2.
Not quite as good of a run, I think, as he would have liked. Cabot was still able to keep and get a good exit speed off the corner. Going to go defensive, chase that 54 on down to the white line, but he's now going to get a horrible entry. He's going to have to definitely get off the gas. Here comes Ghali back on the inside. He's going to get clear out of turn 4.
That was textbook by Yusuf Ghali. Charge in the corner, make the guy look up in the mirror, and it's actually going to cost Cabot 2 spots as Alex Bell comes on through with a huge head of steam, even as a look for the race lead.
Calusa in the grass on the front straightaway. I heard Bailey Turner come over the radio. Not sure if something happened. Oh, indeed.
Back and have a look. Gotta go back a little farther than this. In 3 and 4. Oh, Turner turned back across the bottom of the 20 car. And, yeah, well, that's self-explanatory. A little bit of payback there as he sends the 20 through the dirt. Good job by Calusa to gather it back up and not cause a caution.
Yeah, and I just want to point out that was not retaliation. Turner apologized for that.
Okay.
They're not mad at each other for
Well,
the other
okay.
incident. Just wanted to point that out.
Well, we'll see. Maybe they're putting on a facade here, Finian. But look at this, 3-horse fight for the race lead. Gali has the top spot, Bell, Cabot right, and Stravato has dropped a little bit outside of the top 4 positions as we now have Cabot fighting back for second on the inside of the number 15.
Yeah, we'll see here if he can get clear back on by. This will be big for him, trying to get back at Yusuf Gali. Yeah, and here's the thing: do you think this fighting is actually worth it at this point, considering these guys are so close together? Or would you rather just kind of, hang out, like being like Stravato at the moment, back in 5th? He's actually less than a second behind these guys.
Yeah, I'm not sure that I would be fighting quite this hard, but again, I think these drivers feel that the track position's too important to give up, and even on a late race restart, I don't think you can win from 5th. So Stravato might be, saving some cars, saving some tire for a longer run. I just am not convinced that laying back is a great strategy, but we're going to find out. I mean, maybe I would race hard to the point where I keep my track position, but not hard enough that I'm taking myself out of the race. So. Cab, I think, is doing a good job right now of fighting back forward after his slip-up, battling for the lead a few laps ago. About 10 laps until we'll see the first drivers hitting pit lane. And Yusuf Gali is our 3rd leader of the day, and he has now led 4 laps. As Cabot's not done yet, though, Finian. He's coming back, and he's got a huge head of steam.
Yeah, not surprised again that really the reason why Gali was able to get by was with a mistake, not just on pure speed. Cabot still got some speed, trying to look down the inside into turn 1 here. It's going to be a little bit tight on entry. You see Gali going to try to pinch that 77 down, and Cabot gets the white line, going to slip up the track just a little bit. Yeah, but it's going to lose the momentum.
Yeah, it's always a bit sketchy driving underneath somebody at a 1.5-mile racetrack, especially when you have all the dirty air to fight with. You get down to that white line, you hit it, it's like you hit a rock. You just shoot straight up the racetrack, and Cabot did a good job backing out of the throttle and not creating a bigger problem there. So good heads-up racing there. You see, Gali's actually leaving the inside lane open, Phineas. Maybe he's baiting the 77 into wearing off his tires and pinching off corner entry a little bit, but Gali's managing quite well.
Yeah, I definitely think, and we were seeing it a little bit earlier on too, I definitely think you can try to prioritize a little bit of a later apex. It's definitely going to help you, especially the fact that you're not going to have to worry about getting tight and hitting the wall. We've seen a few times now guys get a little bit close to that the turn 4 and turn 2 walls, so you're going to definitely have to start watching the corner exit speed here as we're getting closer and closer to pit stops.
And that pit road, this is the big discussion that we're going to have all night, is getting off the racetrack and getting all the way down to these yellow or the orange cones that you see. It's a lot more difficult than it looks to get down there, and we see drivers miss it all the time. So as soon as we start seeing drivers hit pit road, we're going to be watching those yellow cones, make sure that everyone makes it down there.
Ooh, and Brendan Gagnon announced that he's just coming to pit road. Not sure why, might have just hit the wall.
Oh. Doesn't look like he's got a whole lot of damage on the car, but it seems very early to hit pit lane. But he's going to work his way on down and his car down to speed. That a little bit surprising. I can't imagine that's a scheduled pit stop, but we'll see where he cycles down at the end of all this. Comes Jeff right through on Alex Bell, puts himself back in 3rd spot.
Oh, I'm hearing a lot of callouts for pit road over the radio.
Surprised to see that a little early, maybe, but the tire drop-off is about 2.5 seconds. That could be prompting a lot of drivers to try to, well, we see Gaba almost miss it. I think that's probably more what you're seeing, Finian, is the tire drop-off is necessitating these guys to come in, maybe make this a 3-stopper.
Could be, and again, that's a big thing, and it really just shows if you can manage the tires and cut out a pit stop, that means a huge amount. But again, if you're running the tires too hard, unfortunately, you're going to have to come down before you really have to. Yeah, I'm consistently hearing guys calling out that they're coming into pit road, so I guess the tires definitely too are going to mean quite a bit for some of the drivers in the field.
A battle for the race lead here, and you're going to feel that tire. You get a little bit of an indication that it's about to go flat. All of a sudden, the car will understeer massively in the right front, but we're seeing track temps near 120 degrees Fahrenheit. The tires are really going to get worn out, and I wouldn't be surprised to see drivers come to pit road early. So again, managing tires, as you said, Finian, big topic of discussion tonight. As we see the leaders come off of turn 4, they're going to stay out again. The question becomes, who is going to hit pit lane? expecting a lot of drivers calling out, but we've only seen 2, make that 3 actually hit pit road.
Yeah, I definitely think if these guys can stay out and the tires are going flat, at least reach lap 45, because it means you're going to cut these runs up into 45 lap stints. You're not going to have to go that much longer on the tires, and that's going to mean you're going to be able to use the fresher tires more to your advantage.
Tim Downey Jr., another one of the drivers that came in. So Gagnon, Gaba, and Downey Jr. in and out of pit road. It's like Clifton Cockrell has also just decided to come on in, so he will join that group as Bailey Turner, Connor Horn have a battle for 6th place on the front straightaway.
And Connor Horn really making some inroads now. I was kind of curious. I thought I would have expected him to be further up the order early in the race, but I think with this, again, talking about tires, I think was saving a little bit more. Now using them to his advantage while other guys are struggling with the tire wear.
Cabot and Golly continue to chase each other as they come onto the front straightaway. 40 laps complete here at Chicagoland Speedway. Handful of drivers have come. The majority have stayed out still. If they can go 4 more laps, it's a 2-stop race from there, which I imagine everyone will want to do. We might see some blown tires, so the 31 looked all sorts of sideways on the front straightaway. But stays up to speed.
Yeah, I'm looking at some other drivers, notably Joshua Jenkins, really slow through these corners. Again, I think he's trying to limp that thing back to the pits, just trying to hang on for dear life.
Trying to, if he can get those other 4 laps, he's about 10 miles an hour off in the corners. See the big understeer that he gets. That car is not happy. And he's actually, it looked like he's pulling to the middle of the racetrack, maybe signifying to those behind him that he might be hitting pit lane here. He's 20th, last driver in the lead lap. He's going to stay out again.
I think he's just trying to hit that number 2, because again, it's one less pit stop. You're going to be costing yourself a few seconds here, but it fails in comparison to the 40 seconds you're going to spend in the pits.
Well, again, a few seconds might be a bit of an understatement. He's now about a full second off the race leaders at this time, and he's already about 3.5 seconds off of his best time, and he's really struggling as you see Tim Downey Jr. come on by. This is not for position. Jenkins is still up a lap on the 25, but that 94 is going to be very close to blowing out that right front tire. Did it go? I think it is. It did go. Blown tire maybe on the 94 car here, Finian.
Yeah, and into the wall hard. And yeah, this is not looking good for him at the moment, dealing with something like that.
No,
so we'll see here if he's still if he's still able to make it back.
Well, I'm not sure if it did blow or not, but it looks like it did. Let's go back and take a look. Yeah, big impact there out of turn number 4. Right on board.
Yeah, if it didn't go, it's definitely going.
No, I don't know if it went, but it definitely looked like it did. He seems really struggling to get that car turned. I mean, we're just watching. This is like watching a ticking time bomb here.
He's only got to hang on, Josh. You have to make it a few more laps, buddy.
Two more, that'll be good. As Alex Bell is going to hit pit lane. Look at Jeff Wright scramble to get locked up down to pit road speed. He'll bring Martin Sproul with him, Alex Bell, Adrian Stravato, and more. Yeah,
and there's a few guys with the undercut here, and he can get away with, 1 lap like this. He might be able to go an extra lap with the amount of off throttle time some of these guys have been behind each other. So some guys deciding to pit early. It's going to give them a few seconds, but if you pit a little bit later, you got fresher tires. So it's going to be a big cost to weigh in.
Martin Sproul blew way past his pit box. So did Jeff Wright. So they're going to have to get relined back up. You see Elliott Butler join them on pit road. Yusuf Ghali, Adam Cabot, they're going to come in together at lap number 45. They didn't even go 1 more lap beyond that. That tells me that everybody felt like they needed to hit pit lane as soon as possible.
And notably, the driver that stayed out. Oh, never mind. I thought he stayed out. I thought it was Connor Horn that stayed out. But nope, he's back in the pits with everyone else.
Joshua Jenkins is still on the racetrack.
Ooh, Cabot went through his pit stop out of reverse.
That's going to be huge for the race lead. It was only a couple tenths of a second. It will probably be at least a second, if not more, this time by.
Whoa, and there's a look at Jeff Wright right now. He's bobbing and weaving through traffic right now. Almost just hit someone going to turn 3.
Whoa, okay, let's go back and have a look here. Kind of missed that.
He's got a lot of sore traffic up ahead of him.
Oh, man. Woo! Darton right, Darton left.
Oh, and just had a narrow miss with Calusa there.
This is a mess on the back straightaway.
That's what we're talking about.
Superman through the middle. 4 wide. Gets it done. What a drive.
And I mean, again, you can't afford to get off the gas. It's going to cost you time. You got to make up as much as you can with the fuel discombobulated like this.
Well, again, Casey Licata's still out here on old tires, 48-lap old tires. He just ran a 33.9, which is 4 seconds off of the rest of the field right now on fresh tires.
I'm surprised Bailey Turner stayed out, and it's a bit surprising because I expected, pretty much all the front runners, once they saved the number they needed, which is about, I would imagine 45, 46 maybe, to come in, but he's even going to stay out another lap, so he's going to have 49 laps run.
Again, I don't think it's the fuel that's the limiting factor here. It's definitely the tire, and it seems like Turner's been easy enough on them that he can get away with this, but the leaders weren't able to. You see Alex Bell and Jeff Wright trading spots there. Scrap going on back here as they're going to head by the race leader and unlap themselves.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit difficult for Turner now to try to get down if he's going to come in. Definitely not going to this time as Servato moves past his inside.
Couldn't do it that time, so he'll have to give up if he was trying to come. As Bell and Wright, this is trading spots for what will eventually be second spot, so they're going to fight hard for this. Steve Turner hits pit lane from the third position.
Yeah, I'm hearing Calusa and Turner coming to the pits this time by, so we're looking at pretty much 50 laps, pretty much the absolute limit that these guys, be it tires or fuel, are not going to be willing to go further than.
Alex Brown's got a bit of a combobulation behind him. There's Jeremy Miller, Tim Downey Jr., Clifton Cockle. This is all for position right now. And you see Bailey Turner hit pit lane. Nice entry for him. Bryce Calusa going to try to follow. Big slide as he gets the car wound down to pit road speed. And Casey Licata will come down as well. That should round out the rest of the field and complete the cycle. About a 15-lap pit window that we saw there from lap 36 to 51. So a little bit surprised to see the window that big, but Yusuf Ghali will take over the race lead.
Yeah, but notably, we did see pretty much all of our front runners came within a 3, maybe even two lap window. Those guys didn't want to spend any longer on the set of tires they had than they needed to, and came in like clockwork down at pit road.
Jeff Wright has a big head of steam. He's actually closed up significantly on Yusuf Ghali the last couple laps. This will reignite this battle as Adam Cabot, with that one little pit stop mistake, dropped himself out of second position. So pit stops, a big deal tonight, not only getting onto and off of pit road, but also hitting your marks in the pit box.
Yeah, look at our top 6 now, especially with 4 of our 5 Dash for Cash drivers in it. I have a good feeling someone's going to be taking home money tonight with the way these guys are running.
Only one we're missing out of our Dash for Cash drivers inside the top 6 right now is Elliott Butler back at 11th. And Butler, again, I'm a little bit surprised to see him not climbing up a little farther. He's actually dropped down through the field. From 6th to 11th, so maybe later in the race we'll see him up there fighting with the rest, but for now, the Cash Claimers looking to be one of these top 6.
And in behind there you see Cabot on the back bumper of that 48 of Jeff Wright. It's be interesting to see. It's only a 1-lap difference on tires between Cabot and Wright. It might be all the difference, so you got a great run off the corner and a great run. Here he comes, looking down on the inside in turn 3.
2 teammates in front of them, Yusuf Ghali, the leader, and Casey Licata, who is, looks like he would be about to go a lap down, so I'm not sure how hard he's going to fight his teammate for this, but I can't imagine it'll be too hard. It's Cabot and Wright. Stay line of stern, second and third for now.
Yeah, how about Alex Bell in behind them, running in the 4th row, having a really solid run. I've been kind of curious, he's shown some signs of greatness at some tracks, almost looking in winning form. This is probably the strongest run he's had all season. Indeed it is. His highest finish before tonight this season was 7th.
Sort of surprised because I feel like we've seen him up front a lot more than maybe he's actually been. But hasn't been around at the end to finish off these races, unfortunately. So hopefully he can finish one out tonight. And look who's found his way inside the top 5. It has only taken him 55 laps to go from 17th to 5th. That is Connor Horn, Finian, and we knew he was going to be good. It's only a matter of time. Here he is.
Yeah, I think he honestly just didn't put a qualifying down just because he didn't really have to. I think he felt he was confident enough to get up to the front, and we've seen it in several different series drivers doing, notably Matt Grunberg Matt Gruberg, and 3 wide as you go 3 wide. Speaking of which, into turn 1 for a second as Alex Bell slams the door on Jeff Wright.
Well, this is something we talked about a lot at Kansas, was you're coming up off the apron and you swing up to the outside. We saw a lot of cars really run each other into the fence at Kansas. I think that's just as likely to happen here. So a big discussion amongst the drivers to not do that, because that was kind of a mess at Kansas Speedway. So try not to repeat history there. So Wright falls back a couple spots. You know how bad he's going to want at least one of these back. His horn goes from 5th to 3rd in a lap and a half.
Great moves done. Now he's going to have a bit of clean track ahead to try to catch up to Gavitt and Yusuf Gali, and you see Gali's been able to separate that gap quite a bit between Gavitt and the rest of the field.
Did you say Gavitt?
Did I? Oh,
I think
sorry,
you said Gavitt. Gali and Cabot having a love child, I guess.
There's a fanfic in there.
There you go. So 57 laps complete, this time through of 135. We've had 1 pit stop so far. No cautions to slow the progress. We've been close a few times, Finney. Do you think we're going to go green all the way to the end?
I would say at this point, typically once you get a full fuel run in, it does really look like you're gonna go green for the most part. Obviously something can happen, but after that point, we typically see a decent amount of races. Once they get past that first green flag pit stop, they can go green to the end of the race. So, and the way these guys are running, especially now they're more or less starting to spread out, minor a few packs, I wouldn't be too surprised if we do.
Well, I think we've also seen in SimTV history quite a few races. I think probably about half the races that we've ever seen go caution-free have actually been at this track. Something about it just sort of exudes the green flag racing situation. Maybe it's because the surface wears the tires out, so you get a lot of separation in the cars, but either way, it seems like this track in particular is always conducive to long green flag runs. So we've been green for 59 laps of 135. We've also seen this sort of happen in ORL races in the past where they go green for a long time, and then you get a caution, and then all hell breaks loose. So there's always that possibility as well.
Yeah, it's just a matter of whose arm is feeling itchy if a caution does come out, and you never know. As you were saying, we've seen not even just in ORL, it's happened in multitude of different series. Green for most of the races, everyone respecting each other, and then all that respect just goes flying out the window.
I have to take a look at this car real quick. Matt Wagner started 22nd, running 20th. Not a great night for him, but this is such an eye-catching race car.
Yeah, his paint scheme has been on point, especially, they got the font right, it's got the paint schemes right.
It's just right. It just looks good.
Yeah, he's got a good interstate battery paint scheme on there.
Well, actually, this is what they run in real life now. So this was actually made. This scheme was made for the eNASCAR stuff. For I believe it was Malik Ray or Malik. I don't know how to pronounce it.
I think it's Malik Ray.
I don't know how that. Please don't crucify me. But for the driver, the eNASCAR driver that runs the 18, they made this scheme for him, and then Interstate liked it enough that they are actually running this car in real life now. So that's what it's going to be from here on out, rather than that hideous zebra paint scheme that they ran for so many years.
Speaking of cars, so in the entire top 16, there's only one Toyota, and guess what? He's leading the race. I'm not saying anything, but I'm saying something.
Well... there was also not a single Ford Mustang in the field tonight.
Yeah. Which is surprising. I mean, it's surprising in some ways because, either I think Eddie Trejo and Ben Laughter, I think, are the main proponents of the Ford Mustang. They've week in, week out been showing up. For some reason, both of them are not here. I hope they're okay and nothing happened that prevented them from being here tonight, but typically they're here every week. So, yeah, it's a bit unusual not to see at least one Ford Mustang in the field today. I think it's probably the first, too.
I think this is the first race that we've had with Outsider Racing League since the Mustang release that we have not seen a single Ford Mustang. And a lot of things, one of the things people don't know, might not know, people that are outside the Outsider Racing League community, is that there used to be no Toyotas in the field. And so we, us being SimTV, said that can't be a thing. So we created Sim Motorsports to put Toyotas, field Toyotas in the race so that we'd have something other than Chevys and Fords to look at. The problem is, now there's no Fords. So I think we're going to have to create a new team and have it be Ford Mustangs now.
Yeah, oddly enough, there actually is a semi-decent amount of Toyota Camrys. There's looking to be about 5. And notably, Zach Halpern is in here tonight as well.
So that's bringing us down on the Toyota count. But up at the front, Yusuf Gali continues to lead this race. He's now led 31 of 65 laps, closing in on leading half of the laps that we've run so far, and it's just been a really good season for him, Finian. But you think back to the Sim Motorsports curse, Alec Martinez last season, not getting the championship after being so close. You know, I'm not saying anything, but I don't. Again, you got to be good all the way through the season. You can't lapse even in the final race.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of Alec Martinez, funny enough that you mentioned him, he's actually listed as the spotter / crew chief for Gali tonight. Not sure if he's actually doing that, but he's listed as that.
Does Alec Martinez have the patience to do that?
that's why I'm a bit surprised.
He's all hopped up on rowdy energy, man. I can't imagine he's got the patience to sit around for 2 hours on something that he's not actively participating in, but we'll see if he's around. Martin Sproul, Jeremy Miller having a good battle here behind Steve Turner. This is for 8th.
Yeah, you see Miller trying to get a good run to the inside of Sproul. Up the corner, can't quite get it done.
See Reggie Ortega behind him in the number 2 VRL car. We haven't really seen a lot of Reggie out of here today, so he's running back in 11th spot. Typically when he runs, he's running up a little closer to the front, but not an amazing night for him. We'll see if he can claw his way forward closer to the end of the race. Meanwhile, Bailey Turner, kind of in no man's land right now, up to 7th place. As the top 6, Jeff Wright and Forward, are all still pretty tightly packed together.
Yeah, these guys have just been kind of following in line with one another. I think they kind of realize that now we're definitely going to see this race go, or at least be in for the long haul. So I think it's just a matter now of pacing yourself, making sure you especially don't wear out your tires before the end of this run. Because again, we're looking to see the next round of pit stops at around lap 90, plus or minus 2 laps. So around there, you're going to have to go a little bit over 20 laps left in this run before you can come back down at the pit road. So don't burn out your stuff.
There's Joshua Banks in the 36 car. He's been trying to stay out of the way with internet issues, but 23rd to 13th, been very quiet for him today, but silently working his way forward. So let's talk about fuel strategy here. So we've got for the drivers that pitted early. So Yusuf Ghali's 23 laps into the run. One of the drivers we saw come down earlier in the race was, I believe, Tim Downey Jr., and he's been out for 31 laps. So I'd imagine that he would be hitting pit lane in the next 5 to 10 laps and kind of joining the crew that pit earlier as well. So there's going to be a whole host of cars that make that early pit stop.
Yeah, it is just a matter of, these guys might be wearing out the tires a little, more than everyone else. So you might have to come down even earlier than that. And he's starting to look like he's struggling on these tires as he's trying to hold the 94 of Joshua Jenkinson behind him.
Yeah, so look at the lap times here. His previous lap of 32.5. That's basically 2.5 seconds slower than his best, and we're seeing drop off like that all throughout the field. How about this? Even our race leader, 2.5 seconds off, a little closer to 2 seconds. But this drop off is fairly significant, and this is not all temperature drop off like you see in a road racing car. This is tire wear that's causing this. So you're going to see drivers lose a lot more grip and be closer to 3 to 3.5 seconds off pace by the time they hit pit lane.
Yeah, and not that surprisingly, is Bailey Turner being the fastest car last time by on the track in 7th place, ran a 32.1 to the leaders, 32.2s, and even for Adam Kevin ran a 32.1, a little slower though than Bailey Turner. Yeah,
so Turner's running faster laps because he's only been on the racetrack for 22 laps on this set of tires, which is 5 laps better than everyone in front of him. So that sort of explains that to me. So again, this is going to be a good strategy. The problem is he's still 7 seconds back from the race leader, so I think he would need a caution at some point to kind of close up this gap to the top group here, Finian, because I'm just not convinced that he can carry the speed long enough into the run for it to really eat up all that time.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. I think really the ideal situation for him is, with these guys, if they're going to pit and run the same amount of time on the stint, we'll see the leaders coming down. He'll inherit the lead. If a caution comes out, if he's lucky enough, if a caution comes out while he's the leader, that'll definitely help him a lot, put him in winning position.
Well, Brandon Gagnon back to pit lane for the second time tonight, so he's the first driver to come on down for our second pit window. So that was lap number 72. So Gagnon,
he's
gonna open the window.
Yeah, he's been only coming down over 35 laps, so he's really been abusing his tires. Either that or he really likes pit crew. He's been coming down. It's going to be coming down a little bit more frequently.
He's got buddies on the pit wall. He's got to say hi every 30 laps, like a puppy dog. So Yusuf Ghali's lead has started to fall slightly. Half a second now between Cabot and Ghali. And Cabot's been averaging about a half a tenth to a tenth quicker each lap.
Yeah, but notably look at one car directly in behind him. He's been going up in a big hurry, and that's Connor Horn in the 3. So he's looking to try to make a pass in the 77 to move himself up into second place.
Lap number 75 this time through. Again, we're about 50 laps away from the end of this race.
About 15 laps from the next set of pit stops. So at this point in the run, are you going to kind of back yourself up, or do you still want to push, especially if you're a guy like Connor Horn?
Well, if I'm Connor Horn, I'm pushing because I've got a little, I've got the same tires as everyone else, but I'm making more use of them, and it's not dropping off quite as hard. So I'm okay if I'm the 3 car. If I'm Yusuf Ghali, I'm saving a little bit, because what I don't want somebody to do is go 1 lap more than me, pit, and then run me down in the final run of the evening. I don't want that to happen. So Ghali should be conserving a little bit of tire so he can just stay that extra lap and just make sure that no one can stay out longer than him. You want to run these tires out to the very end.
Yeah, that is going to be the big key thing too. It might seem early, but potentially, if we go green all the way, lap 90 is going to be the final stop for these drivers. So that's pretty much it as far as, getting another chance on a set of tires. You got to be careful, make them count. And right now, Cabot making count as he's over the back of the 54.
Connor Horn's got a couple car lengths back, but here comes Adam Cabot for the race lead. Lap number 77, side by side. Ghali, oh, they're going to get real tight together at the exit of turn 4. Ghali has led 43 laps. Cabot has led 19. He wants to tick 1 more on that box. He's going to have to wait 1 more lap to do it, as Ghali led that lap by only a couple hundredths of a second.
Yeah, more like thousands of a second, 7,000 to be exact.
And Cabot right there on the tailpipes of the 54. Maybe a little bit of side draft if he can get, look at that right there, gets to the quarter panel, and look at the run that he gets. Just enough to pull alongside into turn number 3, drive up to the door. And Connor Horn is just sizing these guys up and waiting for them to sort it out because he wants a piece of this as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think he's going to definitely try to poke the bear here and see if he can intervene in this battle, because this could also give him a spot if Cabot's able to be successful and work on by the 54. But man, golly, he's really making Cabot work for it. Look at him rocking around the outside lane, and that was the first time I've really seen that outside lane work that well.
Again, you can see the rubber starting to form in that middle to upper groove, so that's going to allow Ghali to defend a little bit better than he would have had it been 5 to 10 laps into the race. So you see a hard line of rubber right through the center of the corner here. That was not there at the beginning of the broadcast here, Finney, and so Ghali's able to lean on that and carry some more speed, a lane and a half to 2 lanes up off the bottom of the racetrack.
Looking down a little bit further back from these guys back at Stravato and Jeff Wright, they've been kind of riding it out 5th and 6th. I'm kind of surprised we haven't seen them. I would have thought we would have saw maybe one of them start, especially Jeff Wright, our pole sitter, mind you. I would have thought we'd seen him maybe a bit back up, maybe 4th or 3rd by this point in the run, but he's just not really been showing the speed on the second run.
So we've had a couple more drivers. Actually, we have not seen anybody else. It's just been Brandon Gagnon. About 10 laps ago already, he's made his 2nd stop of the night. No one else has come down yet for their 2nd stop. And for the fuel window for Ghali, they'd have to go another, what are we looking at, another 10 to 15 laps here to meet their fuel window to the end.
Yeah, pretty much. In fact, actually, based off of Bailey Turner's numbers, the fuel window really opens up in a little less than 5 laps time. Again, I don't think you want to go that long on the tires. You're really going to start paying for the price, especially as the leaders. So ideally, they were going to probably pit around lap 90. But the thing is, and here's really the big thing. We're talking about, strategy. It's going to be more or less when you come in. If you're a Cabot running in 2nd, if you're not able to get that pass down on the track, do you want to come in a lap earlier than the 54 and get that spot?
No, I don't want to do that. I would rather, I think the tire drop-off here is so severe, Finney, that I would rather stay out the extra lap, lose the time, and have more tire to work with. I think that's sort of the winning strategy. I think Bailey Turner's strategy would be the best if he was a little closer. Bailey Turner has also, looks like, take a look here, Finney, to see, doesn't have a stop time recorded. He didn't just come to pit lane, did he?
No, I don't think he would be running at this point. Yeah, I don't know why that is the case.
I'm not sure if you have that on your scoring screen as well, but I don't have a pit stop time for him the last time he hit pit lane.
Yeah, I noticed that too. I kind of disregarded because, I mean, I would have to imagine he took some sort of service.
Yeah, I hope so. He's made it a million miles on fumes, if that's the case. But Adam Cabot right behind Yusuf Ghali now. You know, another thing that we haven't really talked about a whole lot yet tonight, because it hasn't really been much of a factor, is the marbles. You talk about the upper grooves here. Again, I'm more concerned about later in this race if it's going to be an issue. But you see, right up against the outside wall, there are some marbles accumulating, and that might be a factor at the end if drivers are running side by side, especially if we get a late race restart. You might find yourself slipping up against the outside wall. So the chase continues for the top spot, about 5 laps to the pit window for the race leaders.
Yeah, and it's kind of surprising, just kind of showing the evolution of these cars. The fact that, you know, we've seen in the past, especially by a certain driver, ripping that high lane. And we haven't seen no one pretty much touch it unless they were about to have a tire go down.
Everything from here on up is no-go zone. You see how it's light and there's no dark rubber in that area. That is the danger zone, Finian. We saw this a lot at Dover as well. If you got outside of that blackened, darkened groove, it was game over. Good battle for the lead, but has sort of fizzled for now. We're going to jump back deeper in the field, find our other Dash for Cash driver. That is Elliott Butler in the number 6, back in 13th.
Yeah, but looking back up at Connor Horn, he's lost a lot of time to the leaders. He lost exactly 0.3 of a second to Adam Cabot last lap through. I'm not sure if it's just him struggling, but I think the gap, yeah, it's starting to widen by a significant amount. He's now 0.4 slower.
I'm wondering if he beat up the set of tires, maybe. There was no damage to speak of on that car, so I'm wondering if he just ate up those tires and they just fell off a cliff, because 0.4 off the leaders is a lot, and that's not an insignificant margin. So maybe Connor's got some big handling problems going on right now.
Yeah, this drop up started to get really severe around about 8 laps ago, and ever since then he's not hit a time lower than a 32.5.
32.7 again.
So I think just beat up the tires. So he might have to come down a little bit earlier, you know, maybe to try to kind of fix this in a way. But yeah, this is not looking good at the moment for Connor Horn, who we thought was going to be definitely the one to maybe win this race.
Leaders in lap traffic.
Yep. And Ghali got to look to the inside.
Real sketchy there as the 25 throttles back up. And now Cabot's got to deal with this. Whoa! Real tight as Tim Downey Jr. goes all the way up against the outside wall. And lap cars fighting with the leaders is always a sketchy moment, but that got about as close as he wanted to get.
Yeah, as the leader, this is really frustrating having the lap car go around you, but you can see how much significant the difference is between old tires and new is. Downey completely rockets by through turns 1 and 2.
They're going to get some of this now as Tim Downey Jr. has joined. Yeah, I think he's one of the only other drivers to have made his second pit stop and maybe final pit stop of the night. We know we can get there on fuel from here. It's just a matter of making the tires last. So Tim Downey Jr. trying to trying to grab. Oh, this is not the word. There's the word I'm looking for. Salvage. Salvage some of his night. There's the English dictionary. Word I was looking for. Oh, here's Jeremy Miller on the middle of the grass on the front straightaway. This is not what he needed to see.
Yeah, no kidding. I'm curious what happened to him.
I'll bet you he was trying to get onto pit lane right here. Trying to get onto pit lane and just overdrove it and couldn't make it. We've seen this be a big topic of discussion every time we come here.
Yeah, you can say you didn't even get past, the little guidance line down. Did not even get left of that. You just came in way too high and way too late off the banking.
Now, if you miss it here, it's not by an inch, you miss it by a mile. It's just as Yusuf Ghali is going to come on down. He's going to bring Adam Cabot with him, so the leaders hit pit lane. Cabot a lot more careful this time.
Yep, like clockwork, everyone on down to pit road. And trying to see on through. It looks like no mistakes as far as missing the box this time by.
Connor Horn's going to leave, and he'll join Cabot and Ghali as they head back off. So 1, 2, 3 should rejoin where they were. There's AJ Stravato also popping out of pit lane with the 48 right behind him. Bailey Turner picks up the race lead, and now what he would want fitting is a caution flag. The chances of that happening at this point in the race, though, basically zero.
I wouldn't quite say that because again, there is still some guys on significantly older tires, and they're really slow. And we almost saw Jeff Wright get into a few incidents himself, getting past those drivers. So we could see something happen if things go bad. But again, it's going to be a short window for Bailey Turner.
Closing on 40 laps to go, and about 3 laps into turn number 1. You see the leaders now flying by Gagnon. He was the first driver to hit pit lane 20 laps ago, so he's already on a completely different sequence, and not one that I think is going to work out very well for him either. So Gagnon's going to go now a lap down. Actually, that might be more than one.
Jenkins in the wall. It's him right there on screen.
And he's been in the wall a couple times tonight. He's 4 seconds off pace, really struggling with this race car. Let's go have a look at what happened here. Just entered in high. You see, he's in the marbles. I told you, get up in the marbles, Finn, and it's just not going to turn. That's just what happens.
Oh, between Cabot and Golly, they're battling side by side, not for the lead, but what should be the lead when the cycle's out, and he gets by.
Wow, Adam Cabot. Wow, to the top spot through the traffic. Move the 77 to what will cycle to be the race lead.
Yeah, it took him a whole lap to do it, though. Had a great setup out of turn 4 and was just moving to the inside of Golly and was able to get on by. Now the key thing, can he keep that spot?
Well, track position means a whole lot. We did see Golly make this pass on the 77 earlier in the race. Is there some damage on the right side of this 54 car? A little bit. I think there is. If we wait for it to come back around, right here on the nose of this car, you can see that front end just slightly knocked in. So he's definitely been in the wall. That could have contributed to him losing the position.
I'm trying to find it. It was actually quite a while ago.
Oh, behind him, that wasn't Jenkins. Who was that? Sturgill. Oh, no! Big crash! The 18 to the wall hard, and the caution flag is out. Wow.
And
oh, man, that changes a lot.
Indeed, that does. And unfortunately for Bailey Turner, he was coming down pit road when that came out. That
is so brutal. Here's a look. I saw this happening as we entered the corner. I was trying to figure out what car it was. It was the 90 of Michael Sturgill up the road here. He was on way old tires as he was coming down. He was on 49 lap old tires here, Finney. And you get off into the corner, and he's going to understeer as he hits the banking. Just watch this right here. Right there, understeers, and the 18 of Wagner tries to go the long way around and gets clipped right here, and then this is going to be a classic loose and over correction. Actually, does he get Connor Horn here? Oh, the contact with Connor Horn, and sends the 18 hard into the outside wall. That is a vicious accident for Wagner. This all happens so fast. Here's a look from on board. Oh. That's just the worst feeling, the worst sound.
Yeah.
That's just, and Connor Horn's now got very significant right side damage as well. So that's not only going to take out the 18, and that'll be it for him, by the way. He's done.
Yeah, and I think that's definitely going to take the 3 out of contention for the race win. I mean, if something drastic happens, I mean, hey, we were talking about it earlier, you know, green for a very long time, and get to the later part of the race, all hell breaks loose. Well, I don't have a meter for that or anything, but we might see hell strike here if things go bad.
Yeah, so I'm just looking at the front splitter. See, that's all dinged in. That's not going to get fixed very easily here, Finian. So I'm not so worried about the right side damage. It's that front splitter that's so important to making downforce on these cars. That car is going to be, if it stays inside the top 5 or top 10, that's all Connor Horn just driving it, nothing else. So Yusuf Ghali, everyone's going to hit pit lane here. I don't think we'll see any funny business. I'm sure Bailey Turner is kicking himself for not staying out one more lap. But that's a frustrating way. If he had just stayed out one more lap, he would be sitting pretty.
Yeah, I mean, it really sucks, and you know, you can never predict these things. You know, classically, I remember in the Lionheart Retro Series, I got lucky on a caution that came out. I was just about to come down pit road, about 5 seconds from pulling off on a pit road. Caution came out. I just stayed out, had to coast to the end to barely get on pit road. I was sputtering when the caution went under pace laps and was able to fuel it back up. But yeah, you just gotta have to hope that things play out. Unfortunately for Turner, did not. It did, however, play out for Steve Turner, who's currently the leader of this race, as well as Kalusa and Lakatos, who also stayed out.
You're watching Sim TV Outsider Racing League round 15 of 2020. We're 98 laps into our 135 lap race. We've had one caution flag just now, a couple laps ago, involving the 18, the 90, and the 3 of Connor Horn. The 18 will be done for the day. Sturgill and Connor Horn will be able to continue, albeit with very damaged race cars. So not what we wanted to see here in the late going. There was something that was certainly brewing between those leaders, between the 77 and the 54. Now they are sitting in 4th and 5th. I'm not sure if the drivers in front of them will hit pit lane or not, but Steve Turner, Kalusa, and Lakatos staying out for now.
No, those guys came down pit road.
Oh, they did come down pit lane, so they are...
Yeah, they got lucky with caution coming up. They
all right. Thank you for bringing my attention to that. So that is going to mean that Turner, Kalusa, and Lakatos will be your top 3 coming to the restart. Again, if you want to watch live timing and scoring, you can head to simtvbroadcasting.com/timing. Make sure that you have all that information yourself. We head into the last 35 laps of this race. Finian, give me a car, give me a driver, because I know the 2 that I thought would have won this race. I'm not so sure that's the given anymore.
Yeah, I'm just trying to look. I think Kalusa might be able to have a hand in this race. I'm trying to look at where he started. Started up in 9th, so it's not is a decently fast car. Definitely a top 10 car. Was able to start there. Didn't have too great of a kind of midfield run. I think it was a little too off sequence when it came down to the pit stops. Was on strategy with Bailey Turner, and that put him a bit further back than I think he would have liked. So, with newfound track position, he might be a factor here. That way, he didn't account for.
The pace truck comes around, and we have not yet seen the 1 to green, so we'll have a couple more laps under caution. This is a good time for everybody just to take a deep breath as they prepare for what is about to be a wild restart. This is our things to watch earlier. It wasn't relevant until just now. Restarts, chaos. These 1.5 mile racetracks, everyone's desperate now. They're so familiar with their cars. They're going to put their cars in positions that they haven't before, so I would guarantee that we're about to see either a mess or a very wild 3 or 4 wide restart here.
And remember, this is the first time these guys have been together since the drop of the green flag nearly an hour ago. So, they've been separated for quite a while, used to running against, maybe 1 or 2 other cars. They're going to be all together side by side coming to the green. It's going to definitely be hectic. So, and we could very much see a caution come out. Indeed, I kind of expect to see one come out in the next 5 laps after the green.
Bryce Kalusa, he sits 2nd for the restart. He was actually running up inside the top 10 earlier in the night, so I think he's got pretty good pace. Steve Turner, a driver that we haven't talked about a whole lot yet tonight, but started 15th. He's up leading this race. Casey Lakatos, he did nothing but climb forward, so I don't think he's all that far off pace either. But Cabot and Gali, definitely the best drivers in the top 5, and it's going to be wild to watch them come forward here. As this time through, we will get the lights shut off on the pace truck. We'll get the 1 to green from the officials.
Yeah, you can see a lot of the guys trying to get their laps back after being caught out on strategy, so they're able to do so now.
About 5 or 6 cars getting the wave around here. Butler, Sprout, Downey Jr., Banks, Cockrell, and Turner. Add Bowers and Weekly to that list. All right, Finian. Coming to the restart, Steve Turner will choose the bottom of the racetrack. Kalusa will head up high. And it's Lakatos, and actually Lakatos and Gali, interestingly, are going to be lined up nose to tail here. I'm not sure how much that's going to be an advantage, but it certainly can't hurt to have a teammate right behind him.
It definitely can't. Might be able to communicate, but I would imagine that Lakatos will help Gali throw him a bone and let him, maybe assist him or at least let him on by. But this year, it's going to be kind of hard to let someone on by when everyone's so close together, and just getting off the gas will cost you a few spots. We'll have to see how this is going to play out. I think this is going to be a very hectic restart.
Can I make a prediction? Casey Lakatos ain't going to give Gali an inch. I think he's as close to the front as he's been all season. He's going to go for a race win here tonight as the field lines up, re-racks, restacks, pace truck is off. 34 laps ago at Chicagoland. Green flag back in the air. Great restart for Steve Turner. In the background, Sturgill on the apron. Nice and orderly double file restart.
I don't think it's going to be too orderly for much longer here as Kalusa going to try to immediately get clear of Lakatos, pull on down in front of him to secure that spot. Now Cabot trying to work that outside lane around the 50 of Lakatos.
Oh, here they come onto the back straight where the field's going to fan out. 3, 4. Are we going to try 5 wide, 4 wide? The 2 Sim Motorsports cars in the middle. The 33 and 48 straddling them. Casey Lakatos backs way out of that. Didn't want to be any part of that. The 15, trouble! 50 gets slammed into the outside wall. He's going to go way off the pace as they come out of turn 4.
And Jeff Wright slow off the corner as well, and for the most most part, it looks like it's going to be the end of that incident, but we definitely almost saw a wreck there as you see Cabot sail by the 22 of Steve Turner for the lead.
That was a really impressive restart for the 77. Casey Licata certainly got the short end of the stick, restarted third, runs 18th now, so he's well out of it. That's a frustrating way for his day to end. But Steve Turner fighting back on the outside. I just don't think he's going to have the pace. But Kalusa coming back on the bottom, he wants a part of this as well.
Again, I was saying that this car might be a factor. This 20 car definitely have to keep an eye here as he's going to try to get past Turner. He's going to be ahead of him here entering turn one. Might have a good shot of getting clear. It looks like Steve Turner is kind of staying out of the way, minding his own business, trying to just stay as high up as he can. And Klusa going to get a by. Here comes Gali now.
Yusuf has no time to waste. He's got to get by these two drivers if he wants any chance at catching Cabot before the race is over. Closing very quickly in the final 30 laps and dealing with all this traffic to do nothing but slow you down. Out of turn number 4, a push from AJ Stravato. And Alex Bell going to go top to bottom elevator move to the bottom of the racetrack.
Oh, he's going to try to get Stravato here. He's going to try to get Gali as well. He takes a very, very shallow entry into the corner and almost gets into the 54.
Here comes Connor Horn. Damage on that race car doesn't seem to be affecting him. Oh, he gets turned off the nose of the 2 car, but he saves it. That was impressive, Finian. That was about as sideways as you're going to get without wrecking a car.
Yeah, that almost ended up very badly for the 3 of Connor Horn. Even 2 for Stravato. Stravato almost got into that as well.
Oh my goodness. Look at that big slide there by the 3. Good job gathering it back up. That was certainly a check yourself moment for both those drivers. And here comes right to the bottom.
Yeah, Wright lost quite a few spots as well with the ordeal with himself and Licata, so trying to move back up ahead, side by side as Cabot goes defensive down into turn 3. Kalusa trying to work that outside.
Cabot's been sort of compromising his exit all night long when he's doing these defensive moves, so I'm not sure that it's helping him a whole lot. I don't think he needs to fight that hard to beat this 20 and 22. I think he's beating himself right now. As Kalusa goes to driver's right, door gets slammed, goes for the bottom, door gets slammed. No place for him to go. Gali trying to close this gap to the front 3.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone doing their best thing and trying to get as many spots now again with the front tires. And you see Gali here trying to make a move happen, but you see actually how about Steve Turner to move to the inside of Kalusa. He's not done yet. He's going to try to get second place back.
All this is good news for the 77 as they keep fighting side by side behind him. Bell and Stravato trading positions, getting into the final 20 or so laps of this race in the next few moments. And Gali is there for third.
I was trying to see if he goes to the inside here, makes it 3-1. Indeed he is. Here we go, 3 wide into turn 3. Who's going to give up? Someone's got to give here. They're going to get contact with the 22. Turner going to get it to Gali. Turner goes flying, and Kalusa goes flying up into the wall. Caution going to be out.
Slides down the racetrack. Oh no! The 30 car came sailing in, and that's going to wrap up Martin Sproul and more. 94 cars going to get in it. That's a big mess at the exit of 4. I think they just, they either didn't see it fitting or they were committed at that point. Him in there sailing.
Yeah, I think that has to do, the caution did take a decent amount of time to come out, and I'm not sure if he was able to see up ahead, but...
We kind of caught the tail end of it here. So off into turn number 3. The 54 takes them 3 wide, and I just don't know if Kalusa either knew that they were 3 wide or had the ability to give enough space here. The 20 is going to turn down the racetrack, and the 22 is not quite enough space. He gets hit, bounces off the 54, back up the racetrack, tags him. Both are going to slam the wall, and then they get sliding down the racetrack, and this is basically where it ends. And then you're going to see the 30 car of Jeremy Miller just come sailing in, just absolutely unsighted, and just drills the 20 car.
Yeah, and you know, looking at it from, I'm able to look at his perspective here. He really, because again with the late caution coming out, he was to the inside of Sproul, and he couldn't just slam on the brakes because he would hit the 19.
Oh
and,
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that is an impact. Oh man, that's just the worst. I mean, you see him actively going for a pass here, then you see him check up, and just absolutely drills the back of the 20. Good thing this wasn't real life, because that would have been an absolutely horrific accident to watch. But that's going to be our second caution of the night. You see the 94 almost had it stopped. Just gets the very tail end of it. What a mess. Yeah,
that was notably, though, surprising how long the caution did take to actually come out. because he almost that was Kalusa had almost come to a complete stop, and then the yellow finally came out.
Well, Yusuf Ghali's chances of winning this race just took a big hit. Look at the damage on the nose of that car, pretty much equal to what we saw Connor Horn have. Very similar accident as well.
Yeah, that thing's not going to drive as well as it did before. So I'm curious to see how well it's going to perform. But I definitely think, as far as race winning, I think that car is definitely going to be severely affected. And we were talking about it too with this package, especially. These cars are severely aero dependent. You need every bit working as much as you can. And when you have just, even that, if that might seem like a slight dent, which it really isn't, that's that right front jacked up, the hood, especially jacked up quite a bit, he's going to definitely suffer for it.
Well, you're not going to fix it either. I mean, you're not going to give up 20 positions to go knock that hood in. You're just going to deal with it. That puts AJ Stravato in a great position, though, because he will line up right behind the race leader on the restart. I would actually like to have a little conversation with AJ Stravato, and I think we're going to talk to him right now, and we'll have a little chat. Hey, AJ, it's Kyle from the SimTV booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, it's been sort of a wild end to what was a very tame race. We still got about 25 laps to go. You sit third, lining up right behind the race leader for the restart. Your thoughts on the race so far and your chances to win this?
I think we got some good short run speed. Just going to be interesting to see how the restart line stacks up and everything. I think restarts here are big, clean air is big. So we'll see. 77 and 54, I think, have been the class of the field, but they definitely got some long run speed. I know 54's got a little bit of damage after that, so we're going to see what happens.
It seems like tonight the action has been pretty intense towards the front of the field, but you all, actually everybody in the top three has the green number on the roof and the door. It signifies that you got a chance to win a little bit of a cash prize. Does that change your mindset at all, or is it no different than any other race for you?
I normally race around these guys pretty clean, so we'll race it out hard, and hopefully we can put on a good show for you guys watching.
All right, AJ, good luck. We'll sit back.
Yes, sir.
All right, so with that complete, Finian, of course, thanks to AJ for allowing us to talk to him mid-race here, planning for a late race restart. And does this change who we think could win this race? I think Cabot's still in the best spot of anybody, but maybe Bell has been sort of the dark horse lately.
I definitely think he definitely could be. And again, we were talking about it. It's kind of surprising in a way. We've seen him up at the top of the field on more than one occasion, just hasn't been able to quite get it done. Again, his highest finish before tonight, this season at least, was 7th place. So he's definitely looking at changing it here, running well up in 4th. But I'm sure for him, especially with quite a few notable names out of the picture, has a really solid shot, arguably probably his best shot of getting one this entire season so far.
Talked to him as well. Hey, Alex Bell, it's Kyle from SimTV. You got a copy?
Yes, sir. How's it going?
It's going well. I know you're coming to a restart here shortly, so we'll make this quick, but you're going to restart 4th. It's been a good race for you. Do you have anything for the top 3?
Man, on a short run, I think I'm pretty even with Adam and Yusuf, and I think I'm better than AJ on long run and short run. So, hoping it stays green here. I know I'm at least the top 3 car here, so I'm gonna try to get a good restart here and maybe make something happen.
All right, Alex. Hey, good luck to you. We'll talk to you later.
Thank you, man.
All right, Alex Bell from 4th place. As we get the 1 to green, the lights are off on the pace truck. Re-rack him, restack him here, Finian, as we head to the restart. The 10 of Caleb Weekly will get the free pass. We now have 20, make that 19 cars on the lead lap for our last 20-lap run to the checkers.
Yeah, and only 20 cars still running. The 26 that took the green flag. And actually, I just realized I didn't even point that out. My prediction, I'm pretty sure, was right. We got a caution in the first 5 laps of the run. I think I was right on that.
We're either right or very close to right.
Yeah, I would say, I would definitely also say again, if I can make another prediction, I feel like we're definitely not done wrecking yet.
Oh, I don't think so either. And interesting to note, the current conditions, the temperature here, Finian, 112 degrees. That's actually 6 degrees cooler than we started the race. So that's interesting. I would have thought we would have been hotter at this point. The day is waning here in Joliet, Illinois, as we come out of turn number 4. With 21 laps until the checkered flag. Cabot, Ghali, Stravato, Bell, Connor Horn, your top 5. Outside of Racing League, round number 15, green flag back in the
air. A few guys already down on the apron, notably Bailey Turner as they go side by side into turns 1 and 2. Whoa, Alex Bell, very hard cut off on Reggie Ortega in the middle of the corner.
Got to take what you can get. And I love that 24. Look, I'm throwing a block on the 25 of Tim Downey Jr. He's back inside the top 10. Bell's going to go bottom 3 wide.
We're talking about him having a shot at getting the win with some major hitters out of the race. Speaking of which, one guy we thought would be out of the race, he's back in it. How about Connor Horton? Snuck his way up from 5th to 3rd on the restart.
Here comes Connor Horton. Oh, that was real tight between him and Alex Bell as they got back up on the racetrack. Move Connor to P3 in the number 3 car. Look, Bell's going to slide up. Oh, he hits the 54. Turns in front of the field. That's going to be a big crash as they exit turn 2. Horrible crash. The 54 tumbling end over end at the exit of turn 2. And just like that, a championship leader is out of the race in a vicious multi-car accident out of turn number 2.
Yeah, I got netcode on my screen between those two drivers, but man, what a violent wreck for the 54.
That was absolutely horrific, and unfortunately for Gali, well, I guess fortunately this is a virtual space where you get to walk away after something like this, but this was absolutely horrendous. Let's have a look. It's off into the corner and was right behind the 3 car, and it was Reggie Ortega. I think the 15 is going to hit, maybe just slide up the racetrack right here. Tags the 54. No, they might have had contact there, Finian. Then off the 24. And straight into the wall, bounces back down, and it's the 48 that just sends him airborne. And that's where he begins the tumble. Wow.
No, yeah, there's definitely netcode. I would say probably look off the back of Connor Horn. I think it will give you the best angle of it.
All right, we'll do that. So we'll look off the back of the 3 car of Connor Horn. Yeah. It's one of those things that's like, he probably would have hit either way, but there definitely was some involved there.
I think even to the netcode, I think made the hit a lot more violent.
It definitely was a very violent impact, but unfortunately for the 54, it wasn't that impact that made the whole thing worse. It was really bouncing straight in front of the 48 car, which just absolutely obliterates him.
I was going to say to go to Joshua Banks. You'll get a great view of the flight that took off Flight 54.
Oh, man. What a mess. Here's another look as they exited turn number 2. That's a wreck that you don't see a whole lot.
Yeah, I think there's definitely some reasons why you don't see a wreck like that a whole lot.
Well, the other driver that I sort of feel bad for that was just a victim and all that was Bailey Turner, and he's working his way through the field and in position to grab a couple spots there and see the damage on his car. Both ends shortened up significantly. I'm not thinking he'll return to the field.
Yeah, we'll see. That car could definitely be in worse condition if he's gonna
get back rolling. He still is on the lead lap. Now, that takes another of our front runners out of the contention here. Cabot, Stravado, Horn, Bell, and Ortega, your top 5. And Reggie Ortega, driver we haven't talked about a whole lot yet today. 14th to 5th. Maybe, just maybe. As the dominoes keep falling.
Yeah. Yeah, I think for him, though, with the dominoes falling, he's got to hope that he isn't a domino and is able to avoid it. Because we've seen a lot of it, especially at the front of the field, too. That's, again, arguably the worst place to have an incident because everyone else, especially at a restart, with everyone so close together, it's really hard to try to avoid it. You just got to hope that you get lucky and you're able to avoid it.
With that, we're going to take a very momentary break. We'll be back for the restart here at Chicagoland for Outsider Racing League round number 15. Stick with us. Welcome back live to Sim TV for Outsider Racing League round number 15 from the Windy City Chicagoland Speedway. We've run 120 laps, had a trio of cautions, all of which fairly significant. But now with 15 laps to go at the restart, Finney, we've got Cabot, Stravato, Horn, Bell, and Ortega. A couple drivers switched out. A couple drivers have stayed up here all night long. Who wins this race?
I think the pace car is going to win the race at the rate we're going. We're seeing some really crazy wrecks, but in a realistic sense, I definitely think Cabot's probably arguably the strongest car. I would say Connor Horn might have given that damage. I can't help but imagine that's holding him back a little bit. It's going to be making that pass for the lead just that much harder.
Alex Bell restarts on the outside of row number 2. He'll be behind AJ Stravato. I got my money on this 33 car. I think he's in a great position. If he can just get a good restart, it's going to be very important that he does so right now. Pace truck going to make the hard left-hand turn onto pit lane. 15 laps to go from Chicago. Green flag back in the air, racing again from Joliet, Illinois. Cabot, Stravato. Oh, 3 wide already as we head down to turn number 1.
That's a terribly good sign here as these guys still getting up to speed. Is there enough room on the track for everyone? We'll see here as they get really close together through the first 2 turns.
Cabot free and clear. Behind him it is an absolute hornet's nest down the back straightaway. The 83 of Gagnon, who was way off strategy early in the race. He's up inside the top 5 right now. Oh, big touch there from the 2 car. 3 wide now.
I'm amazed he did not turn him, although we're still not done yet. Still Tim Downey Jr. on the bottom, ready to take in the middle. Gagnon on the outside. Then you got Bowers and Butler side by side and behind as well. There's a lot of cars in a very small amount of space.
Gagnon's going to get shuffled out of the fray. Back 3, 4, 5 spots as they exit turn number 2. Up at the front, Cabot leads the way. Stravato second. Alex Bell and Connor Horn fighting for 3rd. Then 5th place, Reggie Ortega, Tim Downey Jr. side by side, entering turn 3.
Let's look at this battle somewhat starting to sort itself out as Tim Downey Jr. is going to try to floor it on by Ortega to clear him off at turn 4. Barely going to be able to do so. And how about Tim Downey Jr.? This is the best run we've seen him have in a very long time.
Yeah, it came out he started up in 12th, which is a good start, but it wasn't running very well because he was off sequence. See, the 6th car tried to drive it under there, couldn't do it, and now Brandon Bowers has to go hunting up the track to find a place to run.
Oh, and Ortega, a great run off the corner. Tim Downey Jr. not able to keep that thing on the bottom. And as we were talking about, that outside lane is definitely in now, but hasn't been already, although Ortega goes really wide in turns 3 and 4.
Up at the front, Stravato hunting down race leader Adam Cabot. 12 laps to go.
Oh, in behind them, Alex Bell, a very aggressive block on Connor Horn, trying to keep the 3 car in behind. They almost had a little bit of an incident on the front straightaway.
Horn is there, and I think he might have the pace to get up to the race leaders. Look at the battle behind him as well. Double wide, Downey Jr. Whoa, another big block entering turn 3.
Yeah, Bell's doing everything to just keep this podium spot at the moment. Meanwhile, for the lead, Stravato getting a really good run on Cabot off at turn 4, sizing him up down the front straightaway.
To the outside, Cabot, trying to throw the block, almost wasn't clear as they entered turn number 1, but somehow they sorted it back out. Oh, Lacanis almost got the fence out of turn 2. He was way up against the outside wall. Trouble!
Oh! And a wreck down the back straightaway is going to bring out the yellow yet again.
It's time coming to 10 laps to go. Steve Turner gets the worst of it by the looks of it.
Yeah, it looks like this was caused by Brandon Gagnon and Tim Downey Jr. getting together.
Oh, wow. All right, so we just caught the tail end of it here. Here's another look. To Turner, was he already missing the front clip on that car? It looks like it. Gagnon, I think, was the car that started this. He was behind the 25. He's going to get him loose right here. Is the 25 loose? Oh, Tim Downey Jr. gets caught up in this as well, into the fence, hard for him. 83 comes down the racetrack, clobbers the 22, and that's where it all began. Brandon Bowers was just sort of in it. Bryce Galusa did a good job missing that. We'll ride on board with him here in a second.
He really can't see much of anything here. Car in front of him, car in front of him.
Look, Caleb Weekly slicing and dicing. Slicing and dicing. And as we mentioned, the 25 car getting the short end of the stick again right here. Big impact to the outside wall, and
oh my
what?
A certain little car that was the leader has just come on down to pit road.
Oh, Cabot, what are you doing?
And no one else has followed.
Oh, all by his lonesome. Well, he has Alex Bell there with him, so it's sort of a split strategy here.
Well, I'm trying to look here and actually see. I didn't see how many guys actually went in behind.
Butler's there, Calusa.
50-50 there's the cars remaining coming in and staying out, so looks like for Cabot he's gonna come out in 8th on the track, so there's 7 cars out of him.
Butler did a 2-tire stop, which I can't imagine would be an awful strategy, but it only really gained him 2 or 3 spots.
Yeah, I would say at this point I feel like you have to go for all 4s, especially with the way we've seen this tire wear.
All right, so now to the last, we'll probably have another 6 laps to go when we get the restart, but these cautions have been a little bit lengthy, so we're going to take a break and get geared up for the final restart here in just a few minutes. With us, we'll be back again in just a moment. Welcome back to Chicagoland Speedway for the Outsider Racing League 15th round of the season. We started the night with 26 cars, and we had about 25 of them running until about 30 laps ago, and all hell has broken loose. It was exactly like we predicted earlier, Finian. We're down to 5 laps to go. We've got 16 cars remaining on the racetrack, and I'm not convinced we've seen it all yet.
No, definitely not, especially considering you got some guys on some older tires with some guys on newer tires. That's almost always a recipe for disaster. We'll see if disaster folds here. I mean, we definitely have a shot of a caution coming out. If so, that means green-white checkered.
We'll have 2 attempts at a green-white checkered if that has to happen. If we get to the white flag before the caution flag flies, we will get to race to the end. Here we go. Stravato, Horn, Tim Downey Jr. He's still 3rd, even with the damage. 4th place, Jeff Wright. 5th place, Casey Licata's fighting back. Pace truck peels off. 5 laps to go. Green flag back in the air. Stravato gets a good, solid launch. Where's Cabot? All the way back in 8th place as we run to the green flag.
Yeah, Licata's is trying to keep him in behind, and his Cabot's going to go up the inside 3 wide through turns 1 and 2. Everyone else in behind still is a double head ahead of him, and he's got, look at the fresh tires he's got, a huge head full of steam as he's trying to get past Butler.
And Butler gave the 25 a big block down the back. Stroll, they're going to touch. That's going to be messed. Oh, that's a horrible crash again. Caution's right back out. And that time Alex Bell's in it. That just wasn't going to work for too many cars.
Yep.
Too many cars. Sort of on the 25 there a little bit. I'm just not sure that there was enough room to be had there.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, he didn't, he left the lane open for the 77 and 77 of Cabot. Didn't even go below the white line, so there's not really argument for, oh, he went below the line, so you don't have to give him space. He was still on the racing surface, and he pretty much held his line as best as he could.
Yeah. That's just guys getting too greedy here at the end. I mean, they want a clean race. They got to help facilitate that, and there just wasn't that many people willing to work together there.
Yeah, I am not honestly surprised at all. I was kind of expecting something or the other. And this is again what we're talking about too. Again, guys on fresh tires versus guys on older tires in at least situations like this.
Yeah, again, if you go, I think the frustration here is that you go 100 laps without having a single crash, and then on the restarts, everybody just loses their mind and just goes, and it's just a demolition derby from there on out. And one of our facts or our thoughts earlier in the race, things to watch, restarts. That has been the dominant discussion in the latter half of this race.
Yep, and now we're going to have our first attempt at a green-white checkered. So this is going to get interesting to see here. So obviously we only have 2 attempts at doing so. I have a dirty feeling the way we've been going, we're probably have to use both.
Well, we're running out of cars at this point. I'm not sure we're going to have enough cars to do anything. We've got 13, maybe 12, because Alex Bell's is all destroyed. So I'm not sure if you can manage to have a caution with 12 cars run on the racetrack. That's certainly grounds for some sort of award. But
I want to throw some certain group of drivers onto the bus, but I'm not going to say it.
I know where you're going with that.
You know where I'm going? Okay,
I know where you're going.
That satisfies me.
Well, oh man, that's a throwback. Oh boy, everyone's probably so confused right now.
I hope they are.
Don't try to figure that one out.
Yeah, no.
Okay, well, how about Caleb Weekly?
Yeah.
In 10th.
And honestly, I mean, really, I think the key reason, just look at that car. I think pretty much not a scrape on it. I'm trying to see.
Oh, there's a scrape. Right front's a little torn up, but.
Oh, okay. Compared to the.
Beggars can't be choosers,
no
right? I mean, it's
yep.
One of the better looking cars out there. Not only in the damage, but also the livery it's got on it. Nice looking car.
I can actually see who has the cleanest car. I think it actually might be Reggie Ortega.
He's even been involved. You can see back here, Finney, the quarter panel's all torn up, and
No. Alright, maybe Cabot?
F right, Cabot. Well, even Cabot has a little bit of right side damage now because he was just involved in the collision. That car's looking better.
Definitely filthy. Very filthy.
Trying to see. I think the 77 might be the cleanest car out here.
Yeah, I'm looking. I don't see any damage on the right side, so.
Well, we're going to let it come back around here. I guarantee I can find something. Well, that's looking pretty good.
Yeah. That being said,
there's still laps to be had.
So, yeah.
There are still laps remaining, and so we can never count it out. And it'll get torn up.
Yeah, I think again with the way we're going, or the way this is going again with the fresher tires and everyone else with the older tires up ahead, yeah, they're definitely not going to let them on by without a fight.
Well, I've seen plenty of fighting. I'm sure it'll be a very interesting discussion in the post-race after this to hear what some of the drivers have to say. It's always entertaining. I kind of miss Connor Horn's raging interviews. Do you remember those? Like the first season we had Connor Horn? That was so much fun.
And we're talking about this too. He's very much mellowed out from that.
I'm so sad. I miss having the post-race interview where he's like, I'm better than everybody. I'm the coolest. I'm way faster than these guys. They just have to learn how awesome I am. And then now it's just, he's just satisfied, you know? And it's, I'm not satisfied with his satisfaction.
There's a quote. I'm not satisfied with his satisfaction. I want that on a t-shirt.
Well, it's like Kyle Busch, except Kyle Busch still gets mad now and then. So he still pisses everyone off, but... Alright, well... Alright, do we have one to green this time? We should see the lights extinguish on the pace truck this time.
I hope so.
There we are.
Otherwise they're going to have to black flag the pace car to come down to pit road. I think they did it to... Was it Richard Petty?
It was Richard Petty, the king.
Yeah.
That was the best. That was the coolest thing. I wish they would have let him start the race. See where the candy-ass drivers are with their fancy-schmancy new race cars in comparison to the old king. I'm just kidding. Richard hasn't driven a car in probably 50 years, so...
Race car. I want to make a correction to that. Race car.
That's not true. He retired in like 1992 or 4 or something like that, so... All right, coming to the restart here. It'll be 2 laps to go. Predictions. I say Stravato's got this if he can just get a clean getaway.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the big factor here. Honestly, I would definitely. I don't know how this is going to play out. I have a feeling we're going to see caution on this restart. If we do see, we do have to use a second green-white checker. I think Gavitt might have this thing wrapped up.
33 versus 3 versus 48 versus 77. Remember, those 3 cars, if they win the race, get an extra cash prize if we finish under green. 2 laps to go at Chicago. 3 miles. Green flag back in the air. Down into turn number 1. Good run for AJ Stravato. He's gotten away from Connor Horn. Behind him, Cabot and Wright. Side by side. Reggie Ortega back in 5th. And Horn gather up a run. Here comes a 77 to the inside in turn number 3.
Yeah, no, is he going to get it to him? He does not clip the 3. And it looks like as they're coming out of turn 4, we're going to make it back to the line.
White flag in the air one more time around Chicago. Cabot desperately trying to get by the 3 car. Trying to pass in the grass, didn't work. Now to the outside. Horn drives in deep into turn 1. They're distracted racing each other. Behind him, the 2 and the 48 side by side for 4th place. Stravato out in front, Finnan. He's won a handful of races. Can he grab another one?
Yeah, he's won 2 races earlier in this year, Daytona and Iowa. If he can make it just 2 more turns, he can get win number 3.
Checkered flag waving for AJ Stravato, his 3rd win of the season after a wild last 30 laps. To the checkered flag, AJ Stravato wins at Chicago. Oh, big crash behind him. Calusa gets in the fence at the very end of the race. But Stravato takes the checkered, and they're all making a mess of it at the exit to turn 2.
Might as well at this point.
And a popular celebration. Dorado sort of a fan favorite here around ORL. And remember back at Daytona, where he got his 1st win of the season after many seasons of the worst luck that I've ever seen in sim racing.
Yeah, I can definitely say that luck is definitely starting to come around on him.
And this season has been just simply the best turnaround any driver could ask for. 3 wins on the season now as we head towards the chase. An unbelievable drive for Stravato. Started the race back in 4th, was up in it all day long. And you mentioned earlier, driver that was lingering in 5th place, AJ Stravato, here he is.
Yep, has now won 2 of the last 4 races. I think to say he's on a roll is an understatement.
Daytona, Iowa, Chicago, 3 different racetracks, 3 different parts of the country. 3 different wins for AJ Stravado. What a drive. Well done by him. Let's have a look here at the race results. And have a look at the top 10 here. Stravado, Cabot, Horn, Reggie Ortega, Jeff Wright. Not the night that I'm sure he was looking for after running so much closer to the lead earlier in the race, Finian, but Jeff Wright starting to get the monkey off his back. Top 5 for him tonight.
And speaking of Jeff Wright, how about Casey Licata's right in behind him in 6th? So Casey's still able to bounce back after getting put in the wall earlier in the race for a solid 6th place finish. Bryce
Calusa grabs the top 10, even in the wall at the end of the front straightaway. Disappointing night for Yusuf Ghali, a big crash there. It's been hit or miss for him this season, Finian. He's not winning, he's usually DNF'd, and that's what it's been the last 10 or so races. So he'll finish 20th tonight. Alex Bell back in 14th after a similar result. Miller, Sturgill, Wagner, Gaba all having abysmal nights at the tail end of it. But what a drive again for AJ Stravado. He led tonight 13 laps, the least of any of our leaders. Comes home with a win. Let's jump to break for a few minutes. We'll be right back to talk to your race winner and more. Stay with us. Welcome back live to Sim TV and Outsider Racing League round number 15. Here now with our 6th place finisher, Casey Licata. An up and down night. Up at the front because of the caution that kind of shook things up a little bit, then straight to the back with a wall impact after some contact. You fought your way back to a 6th place finish. You got to be thrilled with that after this night that everyone else had around you.
Oh gosh, just avoiding everything really was the highlight of our evening. We had we stayed out till lap 50, missed pit road, which really screwed us over. But we came up with a pit strategy and said, well, we'll do a 50, 45, and then the last 40. But then we got that caution right there, which really helped us, got us right up to P3. And yeah, we got into it with Jeff Wright. I guess we were 4 wide out of 2 there. Jeff and I had some words. We're going to have some words here shortly. We're going to chat with him after this, but just trying to clear the air basically. But yeah, with that, having that damage, we still had 2,000 RPM. We were ready to rock and roll other than arrows. So managed to stick it out, get 6. I knew Reggie was faster, but yeah, I'm just happy coming with 6 after Dover's massacre. Right front blowing.
Well, we also head next week to Daytona International Speedway, return to the restrictor plate tracks. And last time we were out there, that was a pretty solid run there until all hell broke loose at the very end of the race. Your thoughts on Daytona and heading to a restrictor plate track for the first time in a little while?
I'm super excited. I love restrictor plate racing, other than the giant wrecks that it usually causes. But just need to have a really good finish there because I think we're right near the bubble. Jeff is right there in the points with us, and the final race, which I know he's right before the chase, it's going to be a road course, and he's going to be good at it. We're going to be at Canada, so I'm not sure how it's going to go, but definitely need to have a good race next week.
All right, Casey Licata brings it home 6th after starting 18th. Strong run tonight, Casey. We'll talk to you later.
Thanks, Kyle.
Moving on now to our 3rd place finisher, Connor Horn, the number 3. It wasn't quite the night that you wanted, but a podium finish after all that happened, including in being involved in the accident. Connor, walk us through your night and your fight back to the top 5.
Yeah, I didn't qualify because for most of the 1.5 mile tracks, there was a big one in the first 20, 30 laps, and it didn't happen. We got a 100-lap run. I was able to get the top 3 by the end of the 2nd run. I think I realized how to save the tires, so I was pretty set for that final 3rd run, and then a guy who was having a tire going down didn't really slow up for the corner like he should have, and I got involved in that. I was frustrated, very upset, but then there was the chaos ensued. I was able to avoid a couple other wrecks that happened. A couple of the front runners got screwed out of that, and then I And that final big pit call, a couple guys stayed out. Me and AJ were staying out all the way, and we luckily got some takers. And it came down to a green-white checkered, which I think benefited both of us. And I basically turned left on Cabot in 3 just to keep that track position. So he still got around me, but I feel like I ran 3rd for the majority of the race. I think I was definitely top 3, and I think I got the finish I deserved.
Well, next week we head to Daytona, and then we head to Canadian Tire Motorsports Park the week after that. So we head to a super speedway and then a road course. Of those 2 races, which one do you feel more confident about heading forward?
Well, definitely Canadian Tire, because Daytona you could get wrecked by stupidity. So hopefully it doesn't happen. We saw what happened in the season opener. Hopefully it doesn't happen again.
Hey, Connor.
Have
you seen the finishes at Mostport before? just want to throw that out there.
I hope I'm far enough ahead that I don't have to deal with that, but we'll see. Luckily, Zach's not able to race, so I think that helps my case. But I'm definitely more comfortable. I think it would be a less crazy race at Canadian Tire than Daytona. The super speedways are always predictable, so I'm definitely more excited to turn right a little bit.
All right, I'm just picking on you, Connor. Hey, nice run tonight. 3rd place for the number 3. We'll see you next week.
Yep, see you next week. Shout out to AJ. That was a great win by him. Great call.
All right, moving on down to our 2nd place finisher, Adam Cabot in the 77 tonight. Started 3rd, finished in 2nd, but led 43 laps. It just wasn't meant to be, Adam. It was the pit call that I had the question mark for. Why'd you leave the lead to come down to pit road?
Yeah, that one stings a bit for sure. I really thought that more people were going to come. After like 5 or 6 laps in the tires, you couldn't really hold it wide open, and the car got really tight for another like 15, 20 laps before it started to loosen up again if you didn't burn off the right front. So we were at that 5 lap mark, and I figured, man, even if 2 or 3 stay out, they're done out there, because we had a 5 lap run. We're at that 5 lap mark, and I pulled down, and sure enough, pretty much no one else did. So even with that call, though, I still feel like I pretty much had it in the bag with that restart with 5 laps to go. But then another caution ended up coming out, so came down to green white checkered, and still was close. But I maybe was a little bit too nice to Connor getting into 3 with 2 to go. I wasn't really sure if I had position on him, so I backed off a bit, and he ended up giving me room. So if I drove in like I could have, I would have been underneath of him, and I think would have had something for AJ, because he just was on older tires at that point. So then Connor threw a big block on me, so AJ should be thanking him for that. But I don't fault Connor for that, because those 2 are teammates, and if I were in Connor's position, I probably would have done the same thing. But yeah, not gonna lie, that one stings, because I kind of thought I had it in the bag at points. Yusuf and me were super close on speed, and if it went green, I think it would have been an amazing finish. And then AJ and I were pretty close at the end, so if we didn't have those rash of cautions, I think we would have been close. But just wasn't meant to be. Just glad that I continue to have speed, and I think that's like my 7th, or I think it's like my 7th top 3 in a row, which is pretty crazy. I've never been on a streak like this before, so I'll take it and move on to next week.
All right, Adam Cabot, 2nd place tonight in the 77 Camaro. Thanks, Adam.
Thanks.
Moving on now to our race winner, AJ Stravado, picking up his 3rd win of the season, and that feels good to say, AJ. It seemed like for the longest time the luck didn't come. It was so close yet so far, changing numbers, trying to get the monkey off your back. Tonight, though, you have solidified yourself as a championship favorite. Daytona, Iowa, and now Chicago. Your thoughts on your 3rd win of the season?
Yeah, man, that was a lot of fun. I really, before I even go, shout out to Cabot, Connor, Jeff, and Yusuf, man. We had a lot of fun up front. I think it was just going to be between the 5 of us, just kind of biding your time and saving tires. But I don't know, man. That was a hectic last 20, 30 laps, just kind of putting yourself in the right position. I was really surprised to see the 77 pit in 2nd with that little laps left. There was a period of time where people stayed out around the same lap old tires, and were able to keep up for about 5 to 10 laps. So that's all I needed, to just stay out front, and I had teammates helping me out too.
Well, next week we head to the site of your first victory in a long time in ORL at Daytona next week. Do you think you can repeat that magic that you had there all the way a few months ago?
I think so, man. I have a really good shot at Daytona. I think I don't know. I think I figured out a little bit of stuff at super speedway tracks, and just kind of how to run it and how to approach it. Just took a lot of failure to kind of get there, but just hopefully stay out front, work with the teammates, and just take the runs as we can get them. I think we got a good shot.
Well, it took failure to get there, but no failures tonight. AJ Stravado leads 13 laps and picks up his third win of the season. AJ, congratulations. Celebrate it. We'll see you next week in Daytona. We'll see if we can repeat and get 2 for 2 at the Super Speedway in Florida this season. Good luck to you next week. We'll talk.
Yes, sir. Want to shout out to all my buddies back at home watching all the hell yeah, boys. Appreciate you guys back at home. Love y'all. Appreciate the broadcast. Y'all have a good one, man.
All right, have a great night, AJ. Celebrate. We'll see you next week.
Yes, sir. You too.
That's going to do it for the interviews here tonight, Finian. But let's just talk about what we saw there. It just seems like every time we have a race at one of these 1.5-mile racetracks, we just see all hell break loose in the last 30 or 40 laps. And I'm not sure what it is, but it seems like we saw some pretty silly moves into turn 3, especially just people diving in 3-4 wide. But next week we head to Daytona. I'm not sure that that's a good place to be going next week with all the hot tempers. We saw Daytona in the spring and with a huge crash in the closing laps that ended up taking out a bunch of drivers. But it's going to be a really interesting race next week.
Yeah, absolutely. And it really is kind of, to see these guys just, it almost seems like they have to get out of their system after going green for so long. They just, need to take it all out in one fell swoop. So definitely some interesting racing to watch, especially at the closing. We got a good mix of both, the long-term strategy and then also the short run. Guys just trying to get every position they can. And nice to see, again, AJ third win of the season. You honestly would have been amazed I would have been amazed if you told me that last season he would have 3 wins this season.
That's been a really, really strong season for AJ Stravado. That's going to do it for us tonight. You can catch us live on Sim TV tomorrow afternoon at 4 p.m. Eastern for the return of the Weekend Warriors Spec Racer Ford Group. They headed to Okayama, Japan for their first round of the season on our Sunday afternoon matinee on Sim TV. Thanks so much for joining us. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't yet for all sorts of racing, road, oval, and everything in between. We'll see you for a great week of racing starting tomorrow afternoon. Have a wonderful night. We'll see you.